So, welcome to WTF Women Talking Facts, where Michelle and I pick apart this week's worst examples of the patriarchy with hopefully a little bit of humour when we can.
Yes.
Because let's face it, it's a shit show.
Mm-hmm. It was like you said this to me this week. It's like we've got dark sense of humour because of trauma. It's like, oh, that explains it all.
Yeah. Yeah. I sent Michelle a video. There's a trend, it's been going for a while on TikTok, where people kind of wrap a really embarrassing or awful story. And this guy was talking about how his aunt had died on Thanksgiving and they had to sit around and basically eat dinner while they were waiting for someone to come and pick them up. I thought it was hilarious. I sent it to Michelle and she thought it was hilarious. But one person in her life didn't. And I said, well, he obviously hasn't been through enough trauma. Because
yes, my sister thought it was hilarious as well. Yeah. So, that's everything we need to know.
Gallows humour is a trauma response. Yes, it really tickled me.
Yeah, me too. It was awkward. It was awful at rapping as well, which made it even worse and better.
It normally does. If anyone would like a link to that video, let me know and I'll send it to them. Definitely a bit more lighthearted than what we're going to be talking about today, Michelle. Because
what's on the menu?
Okay, so let's start off strong with the atrocious headline from South Teesside.
Yeah, so the Sunderland Echo thought it would be funny / interesting / I don't know. Honestly, I couldn't get into their heads. So, yeah. So in I have lost for words. A violent South Tyneside dad made it a black and blue Christmas for his partner by hitting her in the face with a beer can.
And
brilliant.
Punching her, leaving her scarred. Sorry, there's a little bit cut off on the picture.
Yeah, I can't see.
I mean,
and this is the Sunderland Echo just down the road from us, and people all week have been saying, please can you change this because it's awful. And I don't know whether they have or not, but just what?
Let me Google it.
Yeah, black and blue Christmas. That's hilarious. Because obviously it's a song, isn't it?
Yeah, Blue Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
It's I mean, I just don't know what what are they thinking? Like, somebody wrote this. It went to a sub-editor. It went to
oh yes, that's hilarious. Let's joke about violence. Yes.
Yeah, final proofing. Someone did the layout. Someone else did a final check, and not one of those people went, this might be a bit insensitive.
Mm-hmm.
And of course it's written by a man.
And the fact is, it's like dad as well. It's like his entire. It's like why are we like describing people as dads? A violent dad. Can he just be a man?
Yeah, it's so tone deaf, and especially because we know Christmas time is one of the times of the year when rates of DV go up. And it's going to be a lot of women who have to deal with this crap at Christmas. And the fact that it's not handled with the gravitas and the seriousness that it should be is just such an awful reflection on the newspaper and the person that wrote it. And they quite rightly came under a lot of fire. So I can't find the article.
No, I think they changed the headline. So
yeah. All I can find is people criticise stories.
Yes, that's it.
The article.
Yeah. Sunderland Echo. Do better for the Northeast, please.
Yeah, which actually we may as well go straight in
to the rest of the newspapers.
The next one. this is probably, do you know what, it's not quite the most ridiculous headline I've seen from the Daily Mail in the last few weeks. A couple of weeks ago, they wrote an article about how Gen Z are cancelling sandwiches.
Well, because it's woke sandwiches. Was that the woke sandwich thing?
Yeah.
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 Which is like, what is a woke sandwich?
Yeah, because they weren't picking like ham and mustard, and they were going for. And you know what? Do you know what the woke filling was? The most popular woke filling? Chicken. Chicken. That was the most popular, but I think the second one was. I can't really remember what the second one was, but yeah, like further down in the article, they were like 30% said their favorite was chicken. You know, that woke chicken.
A woke chicken, yes.
It's just
ridiculous. The diversity hire that was a chicken that was woke. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
Ridiculousness. But yes.
But yes, this
so
one.
In this picture, you can clearly see a woman not consenting to being kissed at
It's
all.
like they made their own they made the argument with the image. Like that image is why mistletoe does not belong at Christmas parties.
No, I know, it's hilarious. And you know what? If you look at Colin who wrote it, he's the environment editor.
I don't know what the fuck it's got to do with the environment. I really don't. Is it just
so the environment at work preventing sexual harassment at Christmas parties?
Yeah. Yeah, they've changed the image now because somebody was it you that shared it? Somebody shared it on LinkedIn. So I went and found the article, and they've changed that image to one that is more consensual, a more consensual kiss.
Yes.
Where both people actually look like they're enjoying it.
Yeah. Do not use mistletoe to sexually harass your colleagues. Literally all you need to say, isn't it?
Yeah. So I made a video about this on TikTok, and I had so many people, quite a lot of people said, yeah, this is weird and creepy. But so many people were saying, it's just a nice tradition. Like, if you don't want to, this is what they said, if you don't want to kiss someone, don't kiss them. And I'm like,
that's what we're saying.
No awareness whatsoever of what actually happens in these scenarios. You know, someone traps you under the mistletoe, and you risk embarrassing them by saying no. And if they are more senior than you, that could come back and bite you in the ass, because what do men hate more than anything? Being laughed at and embarrassed by women. Or there's other people that will tell you that you're no fun and you need to get over it. Women are being pressured into kissing men. They don't want to.
Well, even little girls, they go and kiss your creepy uncle, like, you.
Yes,
no, thank you.
All of that. I mean, I think it's one thing in the family home, you know, as it depends on your family. If people, can go, no, fuck off, and and feel comfortable doing that, then that's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you're using it to like force children to let their aunts and uncles slobber all over them, it's still that still falls in that middle kind of, it's a bit murky.
Yeah, no. Teach our young girls to say, no, thank you, no, and make people ask if they're going to give them a kiss or a cuddle. Can I give you a hug?
Yeah.
It's not that difficult, is it? Let's face it.
So the fact they picked that image shows that even subconsciously they knew exactly why people don't want it at the Christmas parties. Because of all the images they picked.
Yeah.
Either that, or somebody on the production line saw that article. They were responsible for picking the image, and they were like, I might just have to, the intrusive thoughts.
Third one.
Third
one, they put things out to cause controversy and get more clicks.
Oh, yeah, because then everyone's talking about it, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Willow says, interesting how the term woke has been co-opted to something evil and liberal. Yes. Yeah, somebody was calling me woke. I get called woke a lot in my videos. And I shared the Webster's Dictionary definition of woke. And the guy was like, no, that's not what it means. I was like, I think I'm going to go with Webster over you. I'm going to take Webster's definition over yours. He was like, no, it's meant as an insult. And I went, no, just because you use it as one, it doesn't actually change the meaning of the word. This is what it actually means. And yeah, he got very upset and swore. Yeah. Okay, so we're doing it. We're getting into the
cretinishness of the media. It's always It always rumbles by, doesn't it?
Yeah, so Cretin rating the media.
It's a 3, I think, for me. It's just it's obviously it gives us something to talk about every week, but it is boring as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, literally, I don't have to rely on Twitter to alert me anything. You just open the Daily Mail online and just scroll and go, "That one's bad. That one's bad. That one's bad."
Yeah, we don't even really need to wait for stuff to pop up on our feed, do we? But then just think that's the
No.
whole point, though, is that we don't go looking for this stuff.
No,
We don't we don't go searching through the internet with, like, keywords and stuff. It
and
just
we
falls in our
leave
lap.
so much out as well.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
send you so much, like, at least one a day.
Yeah, it gets to, like, Thursday evening, and I'm messaging Michelle going, "All right, we've got to narrow it down. You've got to send me your final pick. Which one is it?" It's like 10 of them, and I go, "No, too many."
No, I
And
know.
we
It's
always
like, there's
load.
so much shit happening.
And each week now, I think there's probably, like, sometimes at least one, maybe two stories we never get to because we have
No,
so much to
no.
say. Okay, so the
Yeah.
media gets a 3.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about Greg Wallace.
I'm bored of this guy as well.
I just want to see him get his comeuppance now.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is so divisive. So divisive this week. Like, you've seen it on your posts, I've seen it on my posts. Ooh, people feel strongly.
I know, isn't it interesting?
Yeah.
And there's a lot of kind of backlash. It's like, why didn't they say something in like before?
Yep.
They did, but nobody listened.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or they couldn't because they had a job and they were going to get sacked, and he was more powerful than them.
Yeah. I saw a woman that I follow, she made a video on it, and every time people left that comment, I could see she got so bored of responding, she just copied and pasted the same response. They did report it. They did report it. They did report it. And that's just, it just keep coming out going, oh, it's just, it's old news. Somebody said it was a different time. And I'm like, 2017?
Like,
2022? No, maybe some of these are older, but he's still doing it. The accusations are still being made. It's like 20 years worth of people coming forward now. But
even Kirsty from Kirsty and Film. What's Kirsty's surname? I've forgotten it.
Allsop.
Yes.
Yeah, that was
So
pretty horrible.
she basically said this happened to her,
Mm.
and she was attacked like all week on Twitter. I know she says sometimes really silly things. Why? Anyway, but yes, so she's been like harangued all week.
And his ghostwriter, she's talking about her experiences. They're pretty awful.
Yeah.
And again, she's been slated. People seem to think that because you didn't report it at the time, therefore it's not true. That's I got
they want money.
They want money. They're attention seeking. They didn't report it because it didn't happen. It's a witch hunt. Oh, witch hunt. They love that word, witch hunt. Well, I must have had that like 20 times from different people. Yeah. When are you going to stop with this witch hunt? It's a witch hunt. And then the other one, which it is probably makes up about 50% of the comments, are people saying, what about Prue and the double entendres that she makes on the show? What about what's her name? Hammond lady. What's her name? She does This Morning. Alison Hammond. She's always making inappropriate comments. And I'm like, it's sometimes a daily struggle for me to live in a time where we have access to all of the information the world contains and still don't even bother to do any research before people share their absolutely dead on convicted that they are right comments when they're so wrong. I'm like, nobody's complaining about the jokes that he makes on camera. That's his persona. That's her persona. That's Prue's persona. Like, no one's complaining about that. It's the off-camera
background stuff. Yeah.
Really awful stuff that people have issue with is that his persona is like of this kind of slightly dirty old man. He actually is a dirty old man and likes to touch up his female colleagues and make them feel uncomfortable. and he's been doing it for decades, and he's had at least one warning. And the complaints haven't been taken seriously. Action hasn't been taken. He's been doing it to so many women, which actually takes, I think we'll put this one up now because I liked this one.
Yeah, I laughed. I saw this one and I laughed.
Yeah.
So, yes. Yeah. So not only John Torode is basically saying he'd never seen any bad stuff happen. And there was another guy, I didn't send you this one, about like, well, he's got autism. And he's a decent bloke. Like,
they love to throw that in, don't they? It's either mental health problems or ADHD or autism, because God forbid he should be held accountable for his own actions. There's got to be something that will excuse him rather than just a creep and a pervert.
Yeah. So I did laugh at this. This take. It's like, no. But apparently they didn't even like each other. So I just, why is he defending him?
No, I don't know. Like, again, this kind of like this whole like he's a top bloke, and people talking, he was a barrow boy, worked on the market, so like banter and stuff was his whole thing. And I'm like, when he was like a teenager and early 20s, do we not expect men to grow up? Like, he moves into a more professional environment. We all adjust our behavior. I don't talk to my clients the same way I talk to my friends. We all adjust. What's appropriate in one setting might not be in another.
And it's this, I want to say offending, this behavior, because it's not checked, it's not challenged.
Yeah. He thought he could get away with it.
It gets worse. And also it gives permission for the other men around him watching to say, well, he's getting away with it, so I can get away with it too. So yeah, it's insidious, quite frankly.
Yeah.
And
this is the thing.
But then it's like, trial by media. We have a court system in this country.
Yeah, but we're not judge and jury. We're not going to sentence him.
No,
we're allowed to have opinions. But it's but it sparked a conversation. Because in my video I made about it, I said every woman knows a Greg Wallace. Every woman has worked with this type of man, and you'll have somebody who works in the office that people will warn you, don't be alone with him, or that's just how he is, or he's just a bit. Everyone knows he's a bit creepy.
And that's what happened in the Leeds hospitals when Jimmy Savile was allowed to sort of wander around unescorted. Nurses were being told, do not be on your own with him.
Yeah.
And look at the damage he did. So
yeah. And I think it's just the start. More allegations are coming out now. But like I said, most of the women, the original 13 women that the BBC spoke to in their investigation had all reported it at the time. They all reported it. And he received a formal warning in 2017 from the BBC and was told that his behaviour off camera had to stop. And he didn't. He just thought, no, fuck it. He probably felt indignant that he'd even been called up. And I think, when someone's been allowed to get away with it for so long, they generally don't think that they need to change.
No.
I think.
But who did he blame?
Oh, yes, the middle-aged, middle-class women of a certain age. Yeah, middle-class. Well, they are now. They weren't then. They were very young women then. 17 years ago, they weren't middle-aged then.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. But I think there's something. It's very hard for young women to, especially junior women, to raise complaints about more senior, established male colleagues.
Yeah, because that's the end of their career, potentially, or they could get more harm. And, whistleblowers are never treated particularly kindly in this country for some reason. It's...
Yeah.
Yeah, sign an NDA, here's some money, now you can leave. That's that's what happens at best.
Yeah. And, a couple of the women, that's exactly what happened. They reported it, nothing was done. They were continued to made to feel uncomfortable. And so they had to leave, or choose to stay in that environment. And this thing, women's careers are impacted, their reputations, they get labelled a troublemaker. Nobody wants to hire them because everyone knows everyone in that industry. Yeah. So, and to report for what? To report something that probably isn't going to be taken seriously.
No. And they look around and see that behaviour being allowed, if not even condoned. And they're like, what power do I have against this powerful man who's on the telly?
Yeah. And who everyone loves. And we know how we treat men who we love when they do bad things.
Yeah. Excuses, denial.
Defend them.
Yeah.
Defend them till the cows come home. Yep. Okay, what are we going to give Greg Wallace?
Well, I do feel a little bit sorry for him because PR-wise, he's not clearly getting very good advice. So I'm going to give him a 4, Cretin.
You feel sorry for him?
Well, it's like, how can you take this scenario and make it worse? So
oh yeah. But you know, I think that's his arrogance. I think he does have a PR team who probably told him to stay quiet, and he thought, "Fuck you, I know best. I'm pissed off."
I'm going to put this video out. It's the same. It's the same behaviour that Conor McGregor did the day after. Obviously, got drunk and did all those tweets. It's the same. So yes. So no, I don't feel sorry for him. You can go and boil his head.
Yeah.
Still a 4 though. Yeah.
Okay.
Boil his head.
Boil his head. Yeah. Yeah. No,
that's a northeastern saying. Yes.
Yeah. I don't feel bad for him at all. I love it when I see men shoot themselves in the foot because they're arrogant.
He's probably going to be a fuck around and find out of the future, no doubt.
Yes. And it's a good one today. But we're not there yet.
Anyway, yes, go.
Yeah, right. We're not there yet. We've got one more, possibly 2, if we can squeeze them both in. This one, James McMurdoch.
I love that face. Do that face again.
It's like I smelled something really bad. Yep. So James McMurdoch, he is the MP for South Basildon and East Thurrock. Narrowly made it in through the general election this year. For Reform, sorry. He's an MP for the Reform Party. So he is one of like 4 Reform MPs that gained seats.
I think they've got 5.
You got 5.
I think they got 5.
So this week, a story broke that James has a conviction for assaulting an ex-girlfriend back in 2006. And he was 20. He was 20 at the time, and was sentenced to 21 days in a young offenders unit. Now, the leniency of that sentence and the fact that as a grown adult man, he was sentenced, he got to serve his time in a young offenders unit, is probably a conversation for another day because we don't have time for it right now. But what the actual fuck, dudes? Anyway, since the story broke, he's been trying to minimise it. He was saying it was just a shove. He just pushed her.
Yeah.
Nothing more serious than that. And of course, you know, Farage and his cronies have been on the defensive. But obviously, the Guardian dug out the court records, and he did in fact plead guilty to the assault, which was way more than a shove. He repeatedly kicked his girlfriend at least 4 times, the court records say, and he pled guilty to that charge and was sentenced to prison. So obviously people are asking whether he really should be an MP. Even for reform, people are asking.
Even for reform.
Yeah, calling for his resignation. And yeah, Farage's team are just like, he wouldn't even get into the conversation with a Sky reporter that asked him the question. He was like, "You can have your fun at Sky. We've got 10,000, 100,000 members. I've got 1 million followers on TikTok," and he walked off, which is really funny. Go find that video. But then there was an interview on Sky News with Richard Tice.
That was very, very subtly done, Felice.
Reform's deputy leader gave an absolutely disgusting interview. it's I'm not going to play the whole thing, but I'm going to play you a little clip. There's so much other stuff that he says in this interview that's just horrific. And if you're on my Gobby Feminist newsletter, you will have the full video in your email. So let's just get a little taste of how this interview went. So bearing in mind, at this point, James is saying that he just pushed his girlfriend.
Court made a decision and he served his time, and now he's had a great career, and I think that's a really positive sign.
What's he told? Must have told you something though. Yeah. And you're serving in Parliament.
Yeah, so I'm on his side. I disagree with what else is saying.
So you don't think he kicked her then? Is that what you're saying?
I'm trusting James. He's bang on the money, and I think that what he says is right. He was there. The court wasn't there. The Times weren't there.
Well, the victim was there as well, right?
Yeah, and they're going to have a disagreement. But at the end of the day, the law is the law. The law made a determination. Do you trust the law, right, or do you trust the Times 20 years later?
Well, the law said he was guilty.
The law, exactly, okay? Right, so the law said he was guilty. They served a sentence, and he's done his time, and he's moved on, and he's been incredibly successful, and I'm very proud of that.
Okay.
You know what this smacks of?
Well,
it's like, you know, when you go to a Catholic church and you're Catholic and you go to confession, it's like, I murdered 17 people. It's like, oh, do some Hail Marys, you're forgiven.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm all for rehabilitation and people being able to rebuild their lives, but there's two things.
You have to admit that you've done something wrong first.
Yeah, the fact that he's still downplaying it tells me that he's not taking any accountability for what he did, and he's still trying to brush it off as something, you know, like it was some kind of injustice towards him.
He was the victim. Oh, it's Darvo. It's all Darvo.
Yeah, and also at a time where violence against women and girls has been declared a national fucking emergency in the UK, who in their right mind would appoint an MP with a history of assaulting a woman? Who just you want to be squeaky fucking clean when it comes to that topic. And then it turns out that they didn't vet him before, so they
didn't vet anybody. Because it was all like quite lastminute.com, wasn't it? So
yeah, and they've been this big thing about their new vetting process, and people are saying to them, would he get through the new vetting process, and they don't want to answer the question. Twats.
No.
Yeah, but
for such a small party, if you look at all the other small parties, I'm not getting on a political soapbox here, they get a lot of TV screen platforming compared to like Plaid Cymru. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or the SNP, which is significantly bigger. It's just.
But this is who I'm seeing so many people, sort of back him, but it just smacks of what Trump's doing right now, like stuffing the cabinet through full of his mates and his donors, and again, they're putting a man in a position of power within his cabinet who has multiple accusations of sexual assault on his record. And you go, really? This is who I feel our leaders should be above the rest of us in terms of the standard that we hold them to.
They do have this, I can't remember what they're called, but they do actually have standards of MPs.
Yeah.
Which obviously was ripped up and thrown out by Boris et al., but still.
Yeah. So the rest of that interview, like, again, it's actually quite sinister when you watch the whole thing, especially in light of what's been happening in the US and the fact that we know that money is being funneled into reform and Trump's administration, his campaigners are supporting the reform campaign. So we are going to see them, I think, lobbying quite heavily. He's already calling for for the government to look at restricting abortion rights. But all through that video, he kept referring to the UK as a Christian nation that believes in forgiveness and rehabilitation. We're like, we are not a Christian nation. We are a nation of people whose predominant religion is Christian, but Christianity has nothing to do with our politics. Like we do have the separation of church and state, and religion doesn't. We don't hear politicians use religion in discussions around laws and hiring of MPs. But yeah, he must have said we're a Christian nation about 20 times through that interview. And I was like, this is starting to feel like the extreme Christian conservative rhetoric in the US. It's starting to seep in. So yeah, the whole thing was just horrible. And then that was like even worse. It's a sign of things to come. So yeah, I think he should not be an MP.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah. So all of them. So that just the whole Reform Party.
Can we just put Reform in the bin, please?
Just put Reform in the bin. Yeah. What are we giving that one? Is it any? I was going to say any better, or what is it? Any worse or less worse than Greg Wallace? Any more of a shit show or any less of a shit show?
Well, we haven't had.
Yeah, Charles is the head of the Church of England, but in terms of the lawmaking, we don't. There isn't that interference in our legal system and our political system, even though there is a kind of they're alongside each other. But like,
he's a figurehead. He's not in charge.
Yeah, just in terms of the political system. Yeah. Sorry. What are we doing our rating? What did you say something?
I'm going to give him a tentative 4, but I have a feeling there will be more stories come out about this chap.
4.5.
Okay, then go on.
What do you think? Do we want to award him Cretin of the Week because that's where it's heading?
Oh, more than Greg.
Yeah.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah.
Ooh. Can we just have a joint one, please?
All right. Yeah, we did that last week as well, didn't we? Because we couldn't decide.
Can't make a decision, no.
Yeah.
So it's like such a shit show. But yeah, Charlie said it's more of a shit show because the leaders of our political parties. I'm like, you know what? I grew up and looking at, the politicians I grew up with, and fair enough, one of them was Theresa May, but she behaved. And then the ones that came after it behaved. And then it's like you get to a certain age and just think, wow, these are our leaders. I don't get it.
Yeah.
How did this happen?
I don't know if maybe there were better standards in politics, or because we didn't have social media, we just didn't know about it.
No, there is that. I don't know.
I don't know.
Gordon Brown still seems like a lovely chap. So
yeah, he does seem. Yeah. We've never really heard anything bad about him, have we?
No. Yeah.
There's just more than one cretin. I mean, they're all cretins, aren't they?
They're all cretins.
Just which one do we crown the biggest overarching cretin over all of the other cretins?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think Tanika's making a point for us that maybe we need to reform the House of Lords. I'm like, oh wow.
Yes.
I mean, that's on the cards.
We maybe don't use the word reform though.
Oh yes, shit! They've ruined the word.
They have, haven't they? Yeah. And people keep saying like it's a brand new party. They're doing really well for a brand new party. I was like, they're not. They're just the fucking Brexit party. They've just rebranded themselves.
Rebranded.
We know who you
the
are.
BNP.
Yeah. Okay, so I think it's time for this week's.
We've been very political this week, but yes.
Well, it's just it's all been.
Look around and find out. Yes, sorry, I interrupted.
Yes, so this week we've only got one because Michelle and I picked the same one, and we were like, you know what, it's such a good one that we're just going to talk about that one for twice as long.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and you called this as well last week, just to say, because you are besties with an Irish legal professional, clearly.
Oh yes, I follow. He's Irish as well, Solicitor Terry on TikTok, and he's been breaking down every aspect of the case and the decisions and putting people in their place when they've been coming up with the nonsense arguments that they've been putting forward. But yes, our fuck around and find out this week is Conor McGregor has been told he has to pay the bulk of the legal fees, if not all of the legal fees, for Nikita Hand. including all of James Lawrence's legal fees too. Yeah,
I love how happy you are about this one.
Yeah, because this was I think when it came out, and obviously, she lost the case against James, but won it against Connor. The statute in terms of, and it's not a rule like a rule. It's just what's expected. And what usually happens is the person who loses has to pay the court fees of the person who wins. And there was talk of the court fees coming out to about 1.5 million euros, and of course, which would mean that she would end up paying far more than she was awarded. And that just felt like such an injustice after everything she's been through.
Yeah.
But the judge has decided that she doesn't, and for the best reasons as well. And part of it's like they're fuck around and find out, because Conor McGregor did something to help this along.
Yes, and James Lawrence is a man of what I can't remember the word. It's like of meager means or something. So he wouldn't have been able to pay for the amount of solicitors, etc.
No. So first of all, they've said that because the defense, the two men's defense, was so intertwined, they were in lockstep with each other. That fed into the decision, because there was no real way to sort of separate the two. And the second reason was because Conor had said during the trial that he was paying James's legal fees. Then the responsibility for paying fell to the man who lost. So that was even more justification for why she shouldn't have to pay legal fees that he's already paying and he lost. Now Solicitor Terry did say, and he said he's not sure how much influence this had, but he said there was like a point of law because James's defense was that he had consensual sex with Nikita Hand after she had sex with Conor McGregor. She was raped by Conor McGregor, excuse me. What they actually found was he didn't have sex with her at all. James did not have intercourse with Nikita. So his defense was based on a lie. So even though I think even though she lost her claim against him that he assaulted her, his defense was that they had consensual sex, and actually the jury said you didn't have sex at all. So that was also a point. He said he's not sure how much, but because he didn't fail to defend himself against her accusation, and her accusation was only made because he went to the police and said that he had consensual sex with her, and she said if we had sex it wasn't consensual, so therefore it must have been rape. So that's where their argument came in, and the jury turned around and said you guys didn't have sex at all. He's lying. He's lying about having sex, but we can't find him liable for assault because we don't think that you two even there was any intercourse, rape or consensual or otherwise.
So he was there as the alibi. He was the emotional support rapist.
And that's what everyone said, because he presented himself to the police after she reported it. So obviously there's theories and stuff, but the jury can't, obviously they couldn't get into any of that. They could only deal with we can only deal with what's in front of them. But in another little twist of fate, the judge said during the hearing around the costs that he is now considering taking further action against Conor McGregor for his social media posts that he made the day after. So he may face even more.
So that's libel. Is it libel or slander, whichever the one is that they write it down?
Yeah, because basically his posts weren't just in reference to Nikita Hand. He was basically saying the jury made the wrong decision. The jury, slagging off the judge, slagging off the jury, saying they didn't do their job properly, inferring that they did not execute their duties as they should have. And the judge was like, I'm not taking for that shit. I'm standing up for my jury. Everyone did everything properly. I'm now thinking about taking further action against you. And I've also seen rumours this week that
Find out.
he might be leaving Ireland because of the backlash. Running off to
We don't want
America,
him.
maybe. They like they like rapists over there.
Will he get a position in Trump's cabinet? Maybe.
Yeah, he'll end up right hand to the president over there.
No, the president's already got a right hand. The first buddy, remember?
A left hand, then.
Yes, maybe.
Or maybe a right hand for the right hand. I don't know.
Oh dear me, fun times.
So it's just delighted me. I feel like the judge was just like, "You think you're all that, buddy? I'm going to show you." So yeah, I think it's great. And yeah, the legal fees are estimated to be 1.5 million euros, and Conor McGregor has been ordered to cover everyone's legal fees.
Nice.
And James gets diddly squat because that's what happens when you try and defend a rapist. And try and say you had sex with someone when you didn't. Yeah, so that's what the jury found when it came to James, is that they didn't have sex. There was no intercourse. There was no evidence of any intercourse with James. So they couldn't call him a liar because that wasn't their job. But he didn't lose. He didn't lose because he made a defense against her accusation. He lost because it was found that his claim that sparked the accusation from her was indeed false. It's like a house of fucking cards, isn't it? House of cards.
Yeah. Lies upon lies upon lies.
Yes. So while obviously,
so we wait. Yes.
Yeah. Obviously, would have preferred none of that to have happened to her, but I'm very glad that was the outcome. Yeah.
And watch this space. There might be another round 2 of when the judge comes back with his thoughts.
Yeah. Maybe just like a fine or something, probably. I don't know. If anything, he's still debating. I just say let him sweat. Let him sweat for a bit.
Yeah, ruin his Christmas.
Yeah, ruin his Christmas. But yeah, like I said, there's talk that he's now fleeing Ireland. So I don't think anyone's going to be that sad.
No.
Yeah. So look at us, bang on time this week. We're not going to
get it.
Yeah, we're not going to get cut off by the. Well, I say we've done it. It's only supposed to be half an hour.
I know we've had to not share stuff as well because we had more bits and pieces, but I might make that into a post.
I extended the finish time because we kept getting cut off, and I was like, okay, give ourselves 50 minutes buffer, and now it's like that 15 minutes.
It's like we will fill the time we get given is pretty much it. Yeah, what happens?
The buffer needs a buffer.
Okay, so we just had a chat beforehand, Christmas wise. So we're going to do it the next 2 weeks, and then we're going to have a week off, and then we're back in January.
Yes, kick the year off with misogyny.
Yeah, fun times. But yes, as I said, this is you can sit and get really cross about all of this stuff, but this is like almost like a weekly cathartic sharing.
Yes, I find it cathartic. I don't know about you guys watching, if you also find it cathartic
or just enraging.
Yeah, it's just like we just like spreading the anger.
Joy.
Okay, we're pissed off. We're now going to make you all pissed off as well. Then you've all got to go back and do your day jobs, being pissed off at the stories that we've shared. I don't think these are nothing we've shared people don't already know about.
No.
Oh, we haven't done.
Cretin. We haven't done Cretin of the week.
No.
What have we done?
We did the media, Greg Wallace, Reform, and that was it.
Yeah.
So I think it's between Greg and Reform. I think we said we might just have a joint.
Yeah, I think that was the plan.
Yeah, the media got off lightly this week.
Well, yeah. Only because it's like predictable.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's it for another week.
Have a lovely
Right,
weekend.
that's it for this. Yeah.
Fabulous. I know, like literally, it's always Friday when we get the worst stories as well, so we have to wait a whole week to talk about them. But
Yeah, I know. We'll
I wonder
come
what's
up
going to
here.
happen today.
Yeah, something else will come out this afternoon. And we're like, damn it, that would have been good. But like I said, there's always fresh material.
So if you see anything, send it our way.
Yep. If you see any stories you'd like us to cover, send them over. And yeah, we will see you. And I will try and get the next week's event up and live this afternoon, not wait till a day before to create it. So yes, thanks for listening. And it's nice to see like the same, we're starting to see the same faces each week as well, which is really nice.
Yeah,
But
lots of love.
yeah. Yes. Bye.